morning. Welcome to IPR's Winter 2018 Commencement Ceremony. My name is Stacy Severson and I proudly serve as the campus director at IPR, but today I also get to serve as your Master of Ceremonies. Oh, thanks guys. Love you guys too. Thanks, Sydney. I want to thank all the family and friends who are attending today, and thank you for the support of these amazing graduates today. I know that you've made sacrifices for them to attend here, whether it was financially or just time spent with them. Well, they've been busy with school, so thank you for your efforts. I'd also like to extend a sincere congratulations to all of our graduates. I know I speak on behalf of the staff and faculty at IPR when I say we are incredibly proud of all of you and proud to call you IPR graduates. I love graduation. Everyone at IPR knows that graduation is one of my favorite parts of my job. But it is also bittersweet. I'm super excited for all the things that you're gonna do when you leave here, but we're definitely gonna miss having you part of our campus community. Every single day that the staff and faculty at IPR come to work, we come to work towards this exact moment to get you to the point of graduation. This is an extra special group as well. It's the first class that I've been with at IPR start to finish, and I've really had the unique opportunity to watch every single one of you grow. I remember meeting you when you toured the campus, during orientation, your first weeks of school. We watched you enjoy learning about signal flow, mastering Pro Tools, and writing all those fun papers for law and economics of intellectual property. But in all seriousness, this is an amazing group. They are an incredibly talented and inspiring group, many of which are already working in their field. A lot of them are professionals long before graduation. Some of them did sound design on a Sundance film, Brandon, or are interning at Winterland Studios like Austen, or running their own company and getting paid for producing and engineering songs like Jose, or releasing their very cool EP on vinyl like Ryan, or doing live sound at MOA like Noah, or continuing their education like Zach. All students at IPR contribute to the campus community, and I can genuinely say that I will miss seeing every one of you on campus. It won't be the same without you hanging at the front desk with Lindsay, jamming in the live lab, or showcasing your skills both in and out of the studio. Please make sure that you stay connected. Even though you're leaving IPR, well, some of you are coming back, thank goodness, for a second degree. But even though you're leaving IPR, we want to make sure that you're still part of this IPR community. So come and visit us, keep us posted on how you're doing. I encourage all of you to utilize your alumni access to the studios. So we give all IPR graduates 9 months of studio or lab access after they graduate, so they can really build their freelance business and continue to hone their skills. So make sure that you take advantage of that. At this time, I'd like to introduce our faculty speaker. She's a favorite gen ed instructor, and gen eds have tough competition. The room that you're sitting in right now is actually a classroom for our live sound and show production students. So for students to go from a class like this to interpersonal relations or your favorite global citizenship, it can be a tough sell, but Portia is a beloved instructor at IPR. She began her teaching career over 10 years ago when a friend in her industry convinced her to teach. She was instantly smitten and has been teaching and guiding ever since. Portia has a very diverse background that includes classical study in violin, piano, and voice, work with experimental theater, training and showing horses, as well as trap shooting. She actually has 4 state trap shooting titles from Indiana, numerous titles from many other states, and was the 8th woman in the nation to attain the honor of maximum yardage. Which is kind of a big deal. She was also the runner-up in the national championships in the ladies handicap, a consistent member of the All-American team, and as she jokingly tells her students, don't tangle with me. Her business experience includes being regional sales engineer for Indiana and 4 continuous states for Engineering Products Associates Incorporated. She moved to Minnesota to take on the position of sales manager and eventually president of the company. Her inspirations draw from nature and chamber music. She is passionate about teaching, inspirational speaking, music, and gardening. She is also an accomplished pianist, violinist, and vocalist. Portia resides just outside of Shakopee in the woods by the waterfall with her beloved feline advisor, Wenceslas, and his young friend, Scaramouche. I cannot promise that Portia's remarks will be free from all profanity today. Or that you won't need a thesaurus to understand some of her words. However, I do feel confident that her speech will be poignant, thought-provoking, and entertaining. Please join me in welcoming Portia Heller.
Good grief. First of all, I'd like to start out because I don't feel that these students ever get enough applause, so could we give them another round of applause? Secondly, as an aside, I asked Stacy, should I wear the Yeti, this thing? Trey sat down next to me and said he felt his allergies coming on. I said, be careful, you might get fleas. But I fed it this morning so you can all come up and hug me. Sooner or later, hopefully sooner, many of you will lose your vision. All of us in this room today has a vision, and inevitably that vision will be lost at some point, and you will become sightless. On this St. Patrick's Day morning, I want to give you some rather unique elements to help you find your place in the world when you feel the farthest from it. Perhaps this will give you a new perspective that will illuminate the fact that failures, mistakes, and trepidation are as critical for helping you find your path as they are unavoidable. In other words, your struggles are not what halts your progress. Your struggles are the guidelines for where your vision will lead you. Often when you look at your successes, you suddenly realize that nearly every one of those was the result of a loss, failure, or disappointment that forced you to find an alternative route to be successful. When you look at the long list of accomplishments of any person of notoriety, you will also find an equally long list of grim nights of the soul. And that should make you realize that you are not the only one with struggles. What this means is to allow your next struggle to become your next source of revelation and opportunity. Of course, this implies a need for awakening and my favorite, self-awareness, and these are actually found in a most unlikely place. Going back to the 13th century, Alighieri Dante, or everybody knows him as Dante, referred to this unlikely place as the dark wood, which he described as a place to be avoided at all costs, because therein lay evil and sin. However, over the decades, the dark wood became regarded as a place where one finds and receives incredible insight. Either way, it is here that you embrace your errors, your shortcomings, and your struggles. Eric Elmas, in his book, Gifts of the Dark Wood, takes this infinitely further and talks about 7 rare gifts uncovered in the dark wood, which are often lost on our rancid, shallow, and fearful society. My goal today is to reveal the high points of each of these gifts. Why this seemed like a comforting and very poignant offering is that over too many years, I have listened to countless number of students and colleagues talk about the darkness of turning inward. I too have spent an enormous amount of time doing the same. All of us didn't know when that happened that we had unknowingly just crawled into the dark wood, but we did know that we were suddenly afflicted with sightlessness, struggles, doubts, and depression. Matter of fact, if you asked me this day when I left the dark wood, I would have to reply that I am still there, and gratefully so. So here are my first 2 questions, and this includes everybody as well as you graduates. Are you living a script that someone else handed you? And what masks are you wearing that portray yourself as someone who is not remotely close to the person you truly are? When you do either of these, you will rapidly lose momentum, start to lose heart, and inevitably turn within to the spirit of self, or the dark wood. When you are steeped in this darkness and you have lost your vision, and that's when you will begin a search to find your place in this world. But to find that place, you will need to struggle and to embrace doubt. This brings us to gift 1, uncertainty. No matter what path you took to get to the dark wood, you will soon realize that you are a mystery to yourself. And that self is fervently searching to hear that still small voice within. You will also be aware of something inside of you that is pointing to a certain direction, asking you to follow, and you will resist, and thus discover the gift of uncertainty. Certainty is overrated. It's for children. It takes away the joy in relationships and annihilates marriages. If you are currently living in certainty, you're half-assed. Mm-hmm. You're neither here nor there. And if you are trying to be creative, certainty is guaranteed to kill that in a heartbeat. At the same time, you need to remember that failure can be an indicator that something is actually going right. Silently ask yourself this question: am I afraid of uncertainty? Because if the answer is yes, then you need to realize that uncertainty is what teaches you to abandon all concerns but the ones you are facing. Uncertainty gives you courage and empowers you to face those concerns. Only then will you see that with uncertainty, you can live with complete focus and exuberance. The second gift is emptiness. How would you like to have freedom from your fear of faults? What is needed for you to move from fear to flow? To quote Elmas, flow is what results when you stop obsessing over your need to survive or be right or be perfect, and discover that you have been given distinctive gifts and abilities that bring you alive in this world and probably will just keep you alive. These gifts are mostly invisible when your view is clouded by self-loathing, blaming others, and the biggest one, fear. You need fear for survival. But if fear is allowed to take charge, whether imagined or real time, this will often put you at much greater risk. You need to put aside the fear and look ahead to find your true power. And you say, yeah, right, man. Come on. I don't measure up to what's supposed to be, and if everyone knew the real me, they'd ditch me in a heartbeat. Really? Hell's bells. So you had a few rejections by some folks. You didn't measure up to their standards. So here's the kicker. You can't do this alone. You must depend on something greater than yourself. I don't care what you call this, door jam, table leg, shoehorn, or higher power, which is a time-honored moniker. For our purpose, universal spirit or just spirit will suffice. The title is irrelevant, but the point here is not. This is the gift of emptiness, and you need to be empty to be filled with the flow of something that's greater than you are, and that could be inspiration, realization, or how about believing in your abilities? Why is that last one often the most difficult? The third gift is thunderstruck. That is lightning and thunder. We are taught from childhood to take shelter when there is any possibility of lightning, but today I'm telling you to go toward the lightning and thunder. Let's look at it this way. Have you ever had an insight or an epiphany that completely rocked your world? When that happened, you just experienced a hit from the figurative thunder and lightning, and an electrical storm began within. When you felt that surge, you just got the signal you are on the right path. That lightning is also what will illuminate your path in the dark wood, but you will only see a few feet in front of you. Interestingly enough, with those few feet at a time, you can make an entire journey. But you must also trust the few feet of darkness beyond that. Gift 4 is getting lost. Anyone who is following a path or a calling knows that the path is anything but straight. In the dark wood, before one finds that calling, they will get lost. The zigzags and switchbacks are staggering, and sometimes you will go in the opposite direction that you think you should be going. There are continuous course corrections, and to make matters worse, there's no itinerary or map. As Paul Simon once wrote, God only knows, God makes his plan. The information is unavailable to the mortal man. So what do you do when you get lost? You stop. And you wait for the next lightning flash to show the way, to give your inner compass guidance. What you don't do is charge ahead, because you could trip over roots, you could crash head on into a tree, or you could just gently step over a cliff. You must always wait for the thunder and lightning to reveal the way forward. That is Spirit's call. You may also receive a call from the most imperfect people, but always listen. Don't let the imperfections of others stop you from hearing their message. Even those who are lost in the dark wood with you will bring enormous gifts. The fifth gift is temptation. And here I'm not talking about drugs, sex, booze, or chocolate. No, the temptation Elnis talks about here is the temptation to do good. Yup, good, not evil. But in this case, it's the wrong good, because it may be someone else's good and not your own. This gift of temptation manifests and results, again, like exhaustion, and that will tell you quickly if you are on your path or just a side path. For you analyticals, logic, reason, and strategic thinking are worthless in instances like this. Your logic will tell you of all the good you are doing for others, and your strategic thinking will remind you of all the people who rely on you. What the heck? You're making a lot of money, and the job is only for a few years, and then you'll have all the time in the world after retirement. By then, you will have no memory of what you wanted, because you have been doing what everyone else wanted. You basically forgot the sobbing little voice of you, who has been trying to get your attention, but you repeatedly push further into the darkness. You can't find your path with logic and reason, but you can find your path with imagination and instinct. Instinct will let you know you are on the correct path because you have a burning desire. And imagination works because the place you belong is usually just found beyond the edge of your immediate awareness. It's not you who find the path, your path finds you. Or putting it another way, the path that fits is made clear. Gift 6 is disappearance, my most loved of the 7. Being that it's St. Patrick's Day, it seems only fitting to talk about a poem by David White titled Tybar Fedreg. Say that after 5 Jamesons. Or Patrick's Well. This is where St. Patrick was said to have visited. White exhorts the reader to take a most unusual action. Turn sideways into the light, as they say the old one did, and disappear in the originality of it all. Be impatient with explanations, and discipline the mind not to begin questions it cannot answer. Turning sideways into the light goes back to Irish mythological people who were tremendously magical. They lived in Ireland before humans and preceded leprechauns. When humans arrived, these gentle people found humans to be coarse, destructive, and barbaric. Amazing, isn't it? Humans' reputation haven't changed a bit in the last few hundred years. Yeah. So these gentle folk chose not to fight the human, but thus turned sideways into the light and disappeared. So what all that means is, don't yield to any identity or influence that is too small for you. Don't be lured by false images. Find a place in the world around you where you can call forth something deep from the world within you that directs you towards your highest identity. In other words, be empty and open to the world as you did when you were little kids, and let it tell you of your unique place in the world. Do not let any place, person, or situation make a mark on you that does not portray your highest calling and identity. Instead, disappear. You will come to instances where you will be tempted to yield to an image of someone you are not, to put it bluntly, to be a fake, because you may feel that is the image that will be needed to win a position or impress another person. Refuse to do that, and instead turn sideways into the light and disappear, and then reappear as the magnificent self you truly are. The last gift is that of misfits. Now, I'm sure that many of you have already realized that you really don't fit the generic mold, and I can assure you that this speaker sure as hell doesn't either. But here's what this is saying. Hopefully, most of you in this magnificent group are not interested in going along with what society considers the norm, mediocrity. According to Elders, people don't do this to us, but processes do. We all have this infinite energy within us, but there are an enormous number of processes that seek to chisel and hone us into one of the masses. This has been the case from a cultural and economic standpoint, and most egregiously, an educational standpoint, since we were infants. These are the processes that treat you like you are a piece of material to be stamped out on an assembly line. Just another piece of ticky-tacky that will come out looking all the same. If you have not yet entered the dark wood and are still wandering all the brightly lit, easy-to-walk paths that society has created, you're at risk of having those forces take your identity and replacing it with a number. This society is not interested, nor will it ask what specific talent or good you possess to live into your fullest life. But this society will empower you to do the good that will keep those processes alive that I mentioned in the beginning, the rancid, shallow, and fearful. After that insult, the next step will be to convince you that you're happy with all these good things. You know, the good that you have done that wasn't yours to do. This society will flagellate you with massive types of entertainment and subliminal message that are created to shape your desires in such a way that their values become your ideals. When you unknowingly succumb to this shaping, only then will you be made to feel righteous or patriotic for going along with this formatted mediocrity. At that point, they got you. They own you. You are now part of the lowest common denominator. Your high points are then found in alcohol, drugs, or sex. There are two types of misfits you will want with you as you travel the dark wood. The first misfit is a mentor. This is someone who has been in the dark wood longer than you and has the wisdom to be with you when you were lost in darkness. This could be anyone, in or out of your field, but this is someone who listens without judging, who may see an incredible gift in your experience that you overlooked, or may spot pitfalls that lie within what are perceived as great opportunities. The second type of misfit is characterized as a group of companions who, again, may not be in your field, but who are also trying to find their aliveness. These are true friends with whom you can open your kimono because they'll open their kimono. They understand what it's like to be lost and will pile on the logs for a warm fire, greet you with an encompassing heart and hug, and listen to your distress or be there to celebrate your successes. You will tap into these folks on a regular basis, but the main point here is that you are never alone. Keep in mind that folk like this are a rare breed because by society's standards, they are renegades swimming against the current of mediocrity. So there you have it. 7 odd, maybe weird, gifts: uncertainty, emptiness, thunderstruck, getting lost, temptation, disappearing, and misfit. These are yours to ponder and use if you truly want to understand you, if you want to regain your vision. The dark wood is the greatest place you will ever encounter if you drop your ego and facade and accept the magnificent self you truly are and realize that no matter who or what, you have a place in this world. You are unique, the only you ever made. Your place in the world is where everything comes together in your mind and body, and you merge as a whole, seamless entity. Get over your shortcomings. Start inhabiting your fullest place, your fullest self. Well, that's it.
Damn.
Now go, do great work, never lose the child in you, believe in the sparkles of the tiniest dewdrops, and never lose the awe for the explosion of the greatest stars or for the greatest creation, yourself. Remember that universal spirit will only send back what you transmit. It doesn't know the difference between negative or positive. With these simple yet profound thoughts, I sadly send you on your way. I hope what I've shared in this little St. Patrick's Day offering resonates in some small way. I have learned so much from all of you. Thank you is just a meager statement. Many blessings, go do great things, and be careful out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. At this time, we would like to take a moment to recognize students who have served or are currently serving our country in various branches of the military. We are grateful for the richness that they bring to our educational community. So I think we just have one. Alex, can you please stand? And anyone in our audience who has served or is currently serving in our armed forces, can you please stand and be recognized? Thank you for your service. At this time, I'd like to introduce Trey will be our Associate Campus Director, who will now confer the degrees.
Hey everyone. All right, first row, stand up. This is the last time I get to boss him around. All right. With an Associate of Applied Science in Audio Production and Engineering, Camden Bright, cum laude. Ian Dwyer. Alex Fellner. Jacob Freitag. Garrett Hogenacker. Tristan Lance, magna cum laude. Thaddeus Meritita. Dylan Milkey. All right, second row, your turn. Continuing with the Associate Applied Science in Audio Production and Engineering, we have Jordan Nancy. And Jose Rodriguez, summa cum laude. Amanda Rogers, cum laude. Theodore Scheiderick. Ryan Shaw, summa cum laude. And Samuel Tusa. With an Associate of Applied Science in Live Sound and Show Production, Noah Anderson. Cum laude. Abigail Bush. Cum laude. Victor Guerrero. And Ryan Sheldon, cum laude. Will the back row please rise? No rush. All right, with an Associate of Applied Science in Music and Entertainment Business, Sydney Walker. Cum laude. With an Associate of Applied Science in Sound Design for Visual Media, Ash Morrow. Brandon Smith, cum laude.
Another degree.
And with dual degrees, an Associate of Applied Science in both Audio Production and Engineering and Sound Design for Visual Media, Kalina Kastner. And Austen Pullen, cum laude. And with dual degrees in Associate of Science in Audio Production and Engineering and Live Sound and Show Production, Zachary Gadian. This is my favorite part. As a duly authorized representative of the Minnesota Office of Higher Education and the Associate Campus Director at the Institute of Production and Recording, I hereby confer upon you the degrees of Associate of Applied Science in your respective programs. It's now official. Change your tassel from the right to the left on your cap.
Next, we get to present our Valedictorian Award. This award is presented to the member of the graduating class with the highest GPA. Today, we have one student that has met this criterion with a 4.0 GPA. Our Winter 2018 valedictorian is Ryan Shaw. We're going to invite Ryan up here in a minute, but I need to say some nice things about him first. I have had the absolute pleasure of getting to know Ryan throughout his time at IPR. He has high expectations for others. I know this from personal experience, but sets equally or even higher standards for himself. Ryan is bright, talented, and hardworking, but also shows humility. His instructors describe Ryan as having the drive and intellectual curiosity to flourish in this industry. Another instructor said Ryan possesses the unique ability to synthesize new concepts and information using a whole brain approach, combining analysis and creative thinking simultaneously. They also spoke to his good character and described him as engaging with a strong work ethic. Ryan came to IPR after attending U of M for computer science. While at IPR, he released his own album and EP, but also completed 2 EPs for local indie artists, Captain Weaver and Daisy. He is gearing up to work with local ska band Runaway Ricochet on their 2nd studio album. After graduation, Ryan will be working as an intern at Runway Studios. Please join me in congratulating Ryan Shaw, Winter 2018 valedictorian.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan. I won't take too much of your time here. I mulled over what I wanted to talk about for quite a while, and despite the fact that it's been done quite a lot, I want to address the thing that I feel made this school stand out, which is the community here. As you may or may not know, I attended the University of Minnesota for about 2.5 years. And in that time, I probably made about 3 friends. I hated being there. I didn't feel welcome. I didn't feel at home. It just kind of sucked. So coming here, I was really nervous about the fact that I really only knew one other person. And I didn't really consider myself a musician either. I couldn't play instruments really. I knew no theory at all. I certainly wasn't capable of recording anyone or anything. I thought for sure that I would be out of place, and that my experience would be the same as the University of Minnesota. But to my surprise, on the very first day, I made a whole classroom of friends, some of whom are graduating today, some of whom will be graduating in the coming months. And it didn't stop there. As time went on, I made friends with people outside of my classes. I found myself engaging with more of the staff, from teachers who taught me as equals to the lab staff who helped me with all of my tech problems. The sense of community that this school has cultivated enveloped me in a way that I never imagined could. I had always figured that community wasn't really important. I figured that so long as you like what you do, it didn't matter who was around. Well, after 5 quarters at this school, I no longer think that. I didn't realize, and now I do, that the work you do is as important as the people that you do it with. We are all here for each other to work together and create something greater than we could achieve by our lonesome selves. I'm truly grateful to all of those who have given me assistance and have worked with me from the beginning. I would not have made it this far if it weren't for the wonderful people who attend and who work at this institution. I'm a proud member of this graduating class, and I look forward to working with all of you for many, many years to come. Thank you.
At IPR, we also recognize some standouts in our graduating class, which is really tough with this exceptional group. Our Icon Award recipients are selected by faculty and program leadership. Students are chosen not on the basis of GPA, but for their commitment, work ethic, and leadership, both in and out of the classroom. We should note that awards are not necessarily given to each program, and that students need to prove exemplary in these mentioned characteristics. Recipients are not disclosed to the graduates or the campus community until the graduation ceremony, so this is a surprise for everyone. At this time, I would like to invite our program chairs to present the awards for their respective programs.
I'm Kevin Bowe. I'm the program chair for APE, and I might be dating myself here, but did anyone ever see Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Is that condescending, pitying laughter, or is that, yeah, I saw the movie Laughter. They play bank robbers, Robert Redford and Paul Newman, and the whole second half of the movie they're being chased by these guys, and they don't know who they are, if they're soldiers or bounty hunters, and they get caught in the end. But the whole second half of the movie is Redford looking at Newman and Newman looking at Redford and going, who are those guys? Who are those guys? And that reminds me of the situation we have at IPR, because there's certain students, you know who you are, where I don't care what time it is that you go to the building, there's this kid, and he's there working. It's 4 in the morning. It's like, who are these guys? And one of these guys is Ryan Shaw. Every time I'm at IPR, there he is. He's working on something. Plus, are Ryan's parents here? You know what's awesome? Manners. Manners actually do still count. Big thing with me. Now, it's different with Austen Pullen, because he's from the South. Of course he has better manners than anyone else. But Ryan is so unbelievably kind, as is evidenced by his talk a second ago. But he's also always there. And in our business, it's not a democracy. It's not like each person gets one vote. The harder you work, the more successful you will be. And I went to buy a piece of gear from a local studio a few days ago. I go into the studio, really fancy place, great guy. And there's Ryan. He's interning there. I'm like, who is this guy? Who are these guys? Well, Ryan's that guy, and that's why he's getting this award.
No, I've always wanted to do that. I'm Luke. I represent the sound design program, and contrary to how I look, I'm actually pretty good at it. So there's this thing. Actually, before I do, Austen, did you not get a hug? I feel like it can. Not hug one of them. That's terrible. You got enough hugs, right, Garrett? Yeah, you good? Okay. So I think that most of us that teach have this sort of weird dream where one of the people we teach turns out to be way better than we are. Yeah. I mean, it's a little embarrassing. So you hope that maybe they just go for like one aspect of what you do and they get way better at it than you are. And that's what happened. That's what happened. We have a student that is actually better at sound design, the specific nature of sound design, than I am. You could probably teach it. Also, he's an excellent human being, and we like to call him Malibu. Well, I mean, he's kind of from that area. Also, it just suits him. If you met him, you'd know, and you'll probably all meet him at some point. Brandon, come on up. No, he super deserved that. He really did. He's gonna do fine in life. I mean, they're all gonna do fine in life. He's just gonna tell you about it.
Hello. I'm Peter Greenland. I am the chair for the Live Sound and Show Production Program. This year, or this quarter rather, we had an exceptional group of students. I mean, they raised the bar, so I really pity the next class that's got to follow them. The set, everything you're seeing in here right now is 100% built by them. They're designed, they're built over a 9-week course, really. Fantastic job. Really hard to choose because they were all so outstanding. But we had to choose somebody, didn't we? First, could we have the Big Show class stand up once, just to recognize who these cats are? Look at that. Thank you very, very much. Really a great show. So we have to choose one. Well, I have to go with the guy who was just always here. Again, always here. No matter what hours I needed him, he was here, and working hard. Picky little guy. Really picky. But I love picky. And so, Zach. He's a bit of a self-winding unit too, but that's all right.
Hey everyone, I'm Mitchell Hare. Now, Mitch couldn't be here today, so he asked me to do this for him. So I gotta check out some notes here. Just give me a second here. Where are they? Oh no. Okay. It's thinking. I just brought these up before we started, and I was like, everyone's gonna think I'm looking at my phone, and now they're not coming up. So I'm gonna have to ad-lib. This person is someone who we all know well on campus, and I know her pretty well because I'm gonna give it away right away. I took a trip with her last year to South by Southwest. She is an extraordinary young woman. She is the recipient of the Rhymsayer Scholarship here at IPR, which is a prestigious scholarship for young people to complete their work here at IPR. The cool thing about Sydney is that when she got here to Minneapolis, she just walked into First Avenue and told them why they needed to hire her, and kind of told them what kind of job she was going to do, and they did it. I don't know. So she kind of has that effect on people, and she has worked hard all the way through her career here at IPR, and we're all really proud of her, and Mitchell wanted to recognize her with the Icon Award. Come on up here.
There's a reason they call me the IPR mom. Today we have the pleasure of hearing from two graduate speakers. For those of you who don't know, the salutatorian is essentially the runner-up to the valedictorian, earning the second highest GPA in the graduating class. This student earning just 1 B, and I know if Mitch was here, he'd totally call him out on it. This quarter's salutatorian is Jose Rodriguez. Not only has Jose been a standout student at IPR, but also a valued member of our administrative support team, serving as a student worker at the front desk, as an orientation buddy, a high school college search panelist, Battle of the Bands judge, and really any other crazy thing we asked of him. Jose is bright, articulate, and demonstrates incredible empathy toward others. His program chair, Kevin Bowe, said, "Jose is truly a unique human being. Never before have I seen his particular combination of enthusiasm, curiosity, intellect, and manners, all in one well-dressed package." Jose comes to us from Florida, but lived in St. Paul a full year before embarking on his IPR adventure. While attending IPR, he has worked full-time, clocking 30-plus hours a week, and let's see if I can actually pronounce his job title, electroneurodiagnostic technologist. Is that right? Hooks up little things on people's heads. As a student worker at IPR and growing his business, Vivi Vibes, he's in the final stage of completing his first full-length production for artist Isabel Lutter, which will be released later this month. Jose's post-graduation plans include continuing to grow his business, freelancing, and doing work on artist development. He will also be building a professional studio within the next 10 years. I'm sure that field trip to Colt's studio helped out. When I asked Jose how IPR shaped him, his response was that it shaped him like a producer shapes a song. Please join me in welcoming Jose.
Hi, everyone. I have found in life so far that one of the best ways of sharing information is storytelling. So I actually just have a quick story about mayonnaise for you guys. So when I was in middle school, I really enjoyed skateboarding. And I was out skateboarding with some friends, and this younger kid named Nick came by. And he had just bought his board from Walmart, which is where I got my first board. And by the way, kids are pretty mean and they like to make fun of that. So they started making fun of Nick. And because I knew what that felt like, I stood up for Nick. And because of that kind gesture, Nick invited me back to his house to have dinner with his parents, which I gladly accepted to. And when I sat down, they were having what I call a classic American dinner, which was your steak, mashed potatoes, corn on the cob. And as is usual in my culture, I asked for mayonnaise. And they all looked down at their plates and then looked back up at me and said, "What for?" And I said, "For my corn." Now, it's a simple story, but here's the kicker. Up until his death, Nick's father put mayonnaise on his corn. And, you know, I didn't hear this story until later on. Maybe it was like a few months ago that my sister related to me. And it struck me as an epiphany, because how could I, a 12-year-old at the time, not even remembering this story, affect a grown man's life like that, even if it was something as simple as mayonnaise on corn? And so the moral of that story is we never really know when we're changing someone's life, or when we're in the process of it, literally. And the topic of my speech is actually just gratitude. Gratitude for everyone sitting in the audience. Gratitude for these instructors back here, for knowingly and sometimes maybe unknowingly, literally changing our lives forever. And that just means the world. So thank you to you guys, and thank you to these instructors, and thank you to my fellow peers who have, I'm not gonna cry, I promise, who have made this all worth it. So, thank you.
So because this is such a special group, we actually had to come up with another award. So this is a new award, and one created by campus leadership to recognize a student who demonstrates exemplary leadership in the classroom and in their industry. The recipient is a student that other students can look to, learn from, and thrive with. This individual inspires his or her classmates to be better, elevates program standards by modeling above average skill and proficiency. The recipient is selected by faculty and program leadership, but again is not disclosed to graduates or campus community until the ceremony. I'd like to invite Program Chair Peter Greenland to present the award to the recipient of this graduating class.
Hey, all right. Well, she really summed it up very good. This person really raised the bar, not only for the students, but for me as well, in bringing in new elements that had to teach. We had to build new sets. This design was his. Ryan, come on up here. I need to embarrass you for just a little bit here. I just got to say, the work ethics from this young man, amazing. I've put him on gigs since the first day he got in here. All the production companies that I sent him to want him back. All the clubs I sent him to want him back. All the churches I've sent him to, they all want him back. Your future is going to be an amazing journey, my friend.
Thanks.
As we close, I'd like to thank Diana and Chrissy in our Career Services Department, along with Matt Kane, the talented downtown lab staff, the lab staff here at Edina, Max, Nick, and Rayleigh, Peter Greenland, Zach Gadian, Tiffany, Rayleigh, Red, all the IPR staff and faculty. I'd also like to recognize our talented IPR student, Christian Wilner, who's taking photos and capturing today's event. Make sure that you check out your program for info on where to get the photos, and if you could share your pictures today on social media and do hashtag IPR graduation so we can all check those out. But before you rush out the door to start celebrating your accomplishments, I want to take this last opportunity to offer some words of wisdom. I know this is really surprising for our graduates because I shy away from giving you advice, right? So consider this your last IPR Mom lecture. I know that you're exhausted from finals and probably won't retain a lot of this information, so I'm going to keep it simple. Cheesy as it may be, I created a little acronym so you can remember what we talk about in these last few minutes, and that is OPEN. Be open to the opportunities and possibilities that lay ahead. You won't likely score your dream job right when you walk out these doors, but there will be a number of opportunities along the way that will move you closer to where you want to be. So first we'll start with O, outwork. In order to be successful in the creative arts, you need to outwork your competition. This means you need to show up early, stay late, demonstrate extreme focus and commitment to the work that you're doing. Sometimes this also means taking jobs that you're not super jazzed about so that you can do the work that truly inspires you. P, professional. Being a professional makes you stand out and makes people want to continue to work with you. It means doing what you say you're going to do and being thoughtful and strategic in your communication. It means always being prepared with your A game. It means looking for opportunities to learn and to be grateful to those who are willing to teach you. The E stands for engaged. Being engaged is about being present in your work and invested in the people that you are working with. Engaged workers innovate, they take initiative, and they hold themselves accountable. Being engaged also means self-advocating to make sure that your ideas are heard, and it's about being passionate about your work. And the last one is N, nimble. Being nimble is one of the most important skills for any entrepreneur. Change is happening at an ever-increasing pace, and as a creative professional, you either respond quickly or you may find that change eliminates or devalues your work. You can stay nimble by being aware of your strengths and weaknesses and actively working to improve your skills. Don't procrastinate like some of you did this week on your finals. Stay on top of technology changes and surround yourself with good people that make you even better. You can be nimble by using your alumni studio access so you can come and visit me and also continue to hone your craft. I am beyond excited to see what is next for this group of talented graduates. Be open to the opportunities that lie ahead by outworking the competition, being professional, engaged, and nimble. Now you guys are gonna make me cry. Know that your IPR family has your back and is here to help you with the next leg of your professional journey, and will also be here to celebrate your continued success. Graduates, please stand. Family and friends, at the conclusion of our ceremony, we are going to let our graduates process through the center aisle, and then we'd like you all to join us for a reception in their honor. We are actually going to stay in this space and enjoy some tasty treats, and then also graduates, if you look to your left, there's a table that has your graduate gift, so you'll want to make sure you stop and pick that up. And then our icon and other award recipients, there's a box that your award can go in at that table as well. And then Christian will also be available to take some additional photos before you leave today. So let's give our graduates a nice round of applause.